Man, y'all. So, if you remember back to Chapter 38 that we just talked about on Sunday, this is literally just the continuation of that, and we just kind of pick up with the fight as it was going on. Now, it was not over. This was not over at all. And everyone's kind of asking around, like, who's going to actually emerge victorious from this bad boy. And even Finn's being kind of being questioned by Serduin. And he's like, Zio's going to win, 100%. Like, 100%. And they're kind of comparing the two of them. Obviously they talk about how Elfie created all the magic. But, like, Zio apparently was the king of the praxis, as they kind of call him. They're like, he's basically second to none in the dungeon. And funny enough, Finn, interesting enough to come from him. And this is kind of why, obviously, he's going to show a little favoritism here. He says that Zio is much closer to a sword than he is a wand. And we kind of saw that in the last chapter, where he's literally punching her and, like, basically imbuing his magic into his physical attacks. So, yeah, that's kind of that. And, of course, old girl here is starting to question it. And Lethea and Felvis, if you don't know these two characters, I'm sure most people watching do, but just in case you don't, these two are actually borrowed, just like Finn, from Danmachi. Other series that we kind of cover on this channel. Episode 9 should be out tomorrow, which is super exciting. But essentially, we just are kind of getting like a little back and forth from these two, and they kind of start to like just about the Elf Queen here, where they're like, I guess they kind of revere her as the queen, whatever. But they kind of start making fun of her because she even lost to Elfie in a battle, apparently. So, of course, ice types versus earth versus grass types kind of makes sense. But nevertheless, everyone's kind of watching this whole onslaught occur, and Sion, I think that's Sion. Pretty sure that's Sion. Anyway, the hair's red. It's hard to tell sometimes between him and Julius in the manga, but Julius was closer to him? I don't know. Anyway, I think that actually looks a little bit more like Julius now that I look at it, because he was closer to him and all that. Anyway, and Julius was just accepted into the Ice faction. So he's just shaking Will and trying to wake him up at this point. And he's like, dude, Elfie's out there getting her just posterior beaten to a pulp. You need to wake up. Like, get into the action. And we kind of see those old goggles that that Will used to use kind of hanging on this ledge back here. And, yeah, Zio's just like, over Elfie, like, what's up? What you got now? Not much left. No more gas in the tank? What's going on? And he's like, now it's time to take my prize. And that's when he unleashes this barrage. And it looks like it's basically countered. So, and Serduin's just like, or Cauldron. I think they already pretty much said the Cauldron is less real than I don't know. They're two halves of the same whole. Doesn't really matter though. And Elfie stands up and she's just like, Serduin's like, you'll see just how insanely tenacious that Elfie is. And I mean, can we talk about how much of a badass she looks like right here? Like, this is insane. And she's like, you're not taking anything. The boy is mine. And he's actually enjoying this. He's like, he's down for the challenge, and I like it. He's like, what could you possibly want? And she's like, I'm in it for love. Like, that look. It's not what that look says, girl. That's not what that look says. That look says something entirely different. In fact, pretty sure I'm going to make that the thumbnail. I haven't decided yet, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be the thumbnail. And she's like, basically like, oh, he's risked his life for me, blah, blah, blah. And now it's my turn. I mean, let's not beat around the bush. Like, if there was ever a life-risking maneuver, pretty much this is it, right? Like, neither one of them show any intention of letting up at this point. Like, they're both just going absolutely ham. So, yeah. And he's like, figured it out. Cool. So that's your game plan. You're a fool, witch, but right now show me what love can do. I love that line. Absolutely adore that line. Zio's actually really cool. Like, I'm actually really feeling this character. Yes, he's evil as hell. Yes, his intentions are awful, but then we see something really interesting, something we saw before. She basically traps him in this ice shield, or iceberg. I don't know. Basically, same thing that Julius did to Will back during the big physical altercation. And she's like a barrier spell. Basically, the more she uses her magic, the more she's able to imbue this thing. And after a certain amount of time, she's basically able to use all of the magic power that's out there. Basically, imagine it like, easiest way I can describe it, so to speak. It's not quite how it works. But like, she's left all these shards of ice all over the arena. And basically, she's able to form this big thing. And that's kind of like her big finish move. It is her trap. Like, she's sprung the trap. You sprung my trap card, basically. And even old girl here is just like, yeah, she did the same thing to me. I can't say what I want to say, but she's like, B is a cheater. And I love Zio. He's just like, oh, this is downright dirty. He's like, but don't think this is going to hold me for very long. And I love this. Notice what she's doing here. She's balling up her fist, and she literally unleashes, and this is literally just like we saw with Will during that altercation with Julius, where she slugs him. Or I guess Will slugged him, but whatever, you get the idea. Slugs him as hard as she can and sends him flying into the wall. Literally shot for shot what we saw Will do. And this is absolutely fantastic. And I love it because he's beaten. He's hurt, but he just crawls out of the rubble. And another great line from him, the usurper approaches, literally showing his intent here. He's like, I won't will, and I will not let up. Like, he is not going to let go. And he just starts like just spewing off with these phenomenal. Dude's got the best one-liners in the manga so far, and everyone else is like, yeah, she's about to learn like what this guy's all about. Like, he is a savage. He will not hold back. It's going to be completely insane. And yeah, you see him charge up this massive attack, and he's literally, they call it a supreme grade spell. This is like, they're kind of insinuating this is like the highest level spell that you can incant at this point. It's completely insane. And she literally just starts doing the same thing. So literally what we're seeing right now is both of them are charging up their biggest, best, most insane attacks. And they're just talking smack back and forth the whole time that they are incanting this. It is completely nuts. This is like a DBZ level beam struggle, for lack of a better way to put it. And they're still just talking smack while they're also like channeling all this energy. And the arena is just full of ice and thunder and despair. And look at the looks in their eyes. That is a dude who, notice he's basically healed at this point too. Like, that is a dude who's just determined and actually excited to take this on headlong. And that is the face of someone who's absolutely not playing around. Like, he's clearly playing around. He does not seem like he is actually fazed by this whatsoever. And she is absolutely done with it. So it does kind of beg the question, like, she's going all out. She's clearly at 100%. Is he, though? Or is he just that, that insane, for lack of a better way to put it? So they're finishing up their big spells. They're getting ready to launch these attacks. And I love the last line, an eternal hymn for the inferior flora that deceiveth the world. And they just unleash these unyielding attacks. I love it. Even Will's like, could you not? Could you not? I would appreciate it if you didn't. Could you not? And as one thing leads to another, we get basically this final shot where they're more or less, once again, something we saw before, they're basically calling up these kind of spirit creatures. And he calls forth this like lightning minotaur thing. And she calls forth essentially Articuno. And it is crazy. This is where the chapter leaves off, which means chapter 40, the next chapter we talk about, what we talk about on Sunday, should be the clash between these two insane, unfathomable, I guess, feats of strength. So, make sure you guys show up to that. Make sure you guys subscribe. Make sure you guys like the video if you did enjoy it. And I'll be back with more coming up here absolutely as soon as I can. This is insane.